Welcome back, fellow Dream Warriors, to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode 17. So we start where we left off with the chase is on between Baku and the big bad wolf nightmare, and the last time we saw, Zero is he got his ass kicked and, his robot body is destroyed, right? And you see Nox that he looked like he pulled something out from his chest, which I thought it was, his core, his heart and whatnot. But what we end up discovering, it's not really his quote-unquote heart, but something else. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So, again, Baku is chasing the big bad wolf, and he ends up beating his ass. And right when he was beating his ass, he just pins the wolf at a wall, and he was about to deliver the final blow, and in turn, releasing them from her it's stomachly prison, right? Because remember, Nem is Little Red Riding Hood. She got eaten, so she is trapped inside the wolf's, tummy. And so, what looked like to be, the day is saved, Nem is rescued, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't the case, because once again, Baku is being forced out of his dream due to a loud sound. You see a red wave just getting Baku, and we get to the next scene where Baku wakes up and wonders what the hell just happened and what is that sound, and he quickly goes to the spy room and discovers that his motorcycle has been destroyed. And you also see Nox's old driver as well. So we now know what happened to Nox's driver. So Zero gets destroyed along with Nox's old driver. So it's destroyed-ish. You see it in burnt and whatnot. And when Baku tries to call Zero, there's no response. So here's the thing, guys. Zero is out there. The real Zero is out there. We just saw his robot body, his puppet, his anchor to talk to people is destroyed. So why isn't Zero contacting Baku, telling him, I'm okay, I'm safe, you know me, this robot body is nothing more than an anchor for me to talk to you with? So why hasn't Zero reached out to him after what happened? So we go to the next scene after the opening credits. Nox returns to the crazy lady, the potted plant destroyer, and reports that he destroyed Zero. But, here's the twist here. Remember in my last video, I thought the crazy lady was after Baku. That's why they captured Nem, and just to lure out Baku and have Nox capture him. That's what I thought. But in reality, the crazy lady was after Zero all along. But of course, Nox, instead of capturing him, he ends up destroying him. And, and he tells the crazy lady, well, lady, Zero is alive. The robot is nothing more than a puppet. And so, yeah, the real Zero's out there. But instead of capturing Zero the robot, he offers her Zero's memory unit, which I thought it was his core, his heart. And then all of a sudden, the crazy lady decides to invade, Nox's mind. So apparently she is a Sith, I guess, because she has Jedi mind tricks. She could invade the mind. Apparently she is a Sith or Dark Jedi. And she invades Nox's mind and says, just admit it. You just hate it when you take orders. You don't like to take orders. And Nox says, can you do me a favor? Do not invade my mind without my permission. And the crazy lady says, well, she doesn't really say it, but you could tell by her responses like, okay, fine, I won't invade your mind ever again, which I doubt she will. But she says, okay, oh well, Zero is dead-ish, but, I will see what I can do with, Zero's memory unit. And the reason why they're after Zero is because they're trying to locate Code's hidden base. So that's the reason why. Capture Zero and force him to tell, Crazy Lady and Nox, okay, where is your hideout at? Where is Code is? And of course, Zero would never tell them. He would much rather die than to reveal the location of Code. So, yeah. So we go to the next scene with Mulder and Scully. They examine the wreckage of the motorcycle, and of course, Mulder dubs it as "This is a black case." Baku turns around and stares at Nox's old driver and tells everybody that I think Nox is the one responsible for destroying Zero. And this is where Mulder recalls what happened between him and Nox, that first reunion. And remember, Nox says that I can't go anywhere with you. I have something that I need to do. And Mulder says, is this why he aligned himself with the nightmares, because of revenge? And yeah, Mulder's in disbelief because, he knew Nox, aka Odaka, for God knows how long. And to think that he joined forces with the nightmares is unspeakable, unbelievable. It's against his nature. But when Baku told Mulder that he destroyed Zero because out of revenge for Code, he's after Code. And Mulder's like, oh, now I understand why he aligned himself with the nightmares, because, based on what Baku said. And so Baku asks, is there any more black cases that I need to know? And Scully said, no, there's nothing. We go to the next scene where Baku and Minami visits the nurse, and Baku apologizes to her for not finding Nem. The nurse says, it's okay, it's just a dream. And even if you would have saved her in my dream, chances are that the real Nem in the real world may be dead. It's been 4 years. But of course, Baku is determined and just stays firm in believing that Nem is still alive, and I made a promise to her that I will rescue her both in the dream world and also in the real world. Just have faith in me, and just have faith in me that I will find her. I promise, right? And you could tell that Baku is so determined to find Nem, and you could see it. And this is important because we get to the next scene and you see Baku in a rush, and Minami is behind and telling Baku to stop. Hey, hold your horses for a moment here. Look, I understand that you want to find her, and that's good and everything, but do you even know where to look for her? Do you have any clues? Do you have any information about where can her body possibly be? And all that Baku has right now is his promise, which is practically nothing. And I'm glad that Minami is there to just knock some sense into him and be like, dude, you need to relax first. Look, I get you don't want to break your promise to her, but right now you have nothing to go by, okay, where am I going to find Nem's body at? It's been 4 years, and there's no information of where her body is. So you need to calm down, relax, and just find some clues, right? And so after, knocking some sense into Baku, you see the nurse following them. And this is where we get this shocking truth. So the nurse, chases after them and tells them, hey, I have been lying to you this entire time. This is what actually happened. And so we go back 4 years ago, and the nurse encounters the crazy lady disguised as a nurse, as a doctor, And the nurse asks, like, who the hell are you? Why are you here? And the crazy lady tells the nurse that this girl is beyond saving. I will take care of her until her last moments. She does the Jedi mind trick on the nurse, and that was it. And the nurse has been carrying this secret for more than 4 years, and the regret is eating her alive, and the guilt, of course. The regret and the guilt is eating her alive. And Minami asked a very important question to the nurse. Like, okay, why now? And why tell us? And the nurse responded with, the reason that I'm telling you this now is because of Baku. Baku is so sure of himself that he will find Nem in the real world. So that gave me hope into just telling you the truth. And the other reason why I didn't tell anybody what happened to Nem 4 years ago is because of the fear of getting fired, which is understandable. So that's the two main reasons why the nurse didn't really say anything and says something now. But at the end of it, she says, look, I'm sorry for lying to you. I'm sorry for keeping the secret for so long, but I want to help you guys. Is there any way I can help you? And so we get to the next scene, and you see Minami and Baku, just getting information. You see Minami with this journal of everything that the nurse told them, and they're just trying to find clues of at least finding the whereabouts of where Nem is and whatnot. And then Baku turns his attention to Zero, at least his motorcycle, and he repairs it using the recovery capsule. And he repairs it, and he tries to talk to it, but Zero does not respond. So we're like, oh, okay, well, at least my bike is repaired, but, Zero's consciousness is gone. And then, Baku says, you know what? I'm going to go to bed, do my thing, bye-bye. And Minami says, good night. And then she gets a text message from her client, Mr. Cardboard Man, the real star of the show. And he texts to her, I found my jokes. Cardboard! And Minami says, I hope you'll find Nem in your dreams, Baku, and whatnot. And we go to the next scene with Baku returning to Dreamland, and he's glad to see Zero also repaired in the dream space, and decides to ride him. When he tries to turn it on, doesn't work, so he ends up using the booster capsule to, activate the motorcycle, and it worked. So we see him travel to the hospital and enters the room where it harbors, the nurse's mind doors. And one of them is open, and you see Nem all chained up. And then Baku peeks through the keyhole through the second mind door and sees a dam, and you see the hood, the red hood on the ground, indicating that Nem is dead. And so Baku goes to the dam, and encounters Nox. And Nox asks, why are you continuing on with your mission knowing that your commander is destroyed? And Baku's response is like, mind your own damn business, and tries to walk away. And, once again, Nox comes in between him and says, if you're still serving code, then you are my enemy. And Baku responds with, it's not about serving code. This is a personal mission of mine. I'm trying to save the dreamer, but also keeping my promise to a friend. That's my personal mission. This has nothing to do with code. And so they both transform, and you see Baku transformed into Plasma Flash, into the Flash, and then of course, Nox turns into Kamen Rider Nox, and we see like a cool fight between the two. Baku is impressed that, hey, you have a new power, hey, and with the new powers of the Shadow, Nox was able to defeat Plasma Zeztz with ease, and Nox just lets him go. Like, he could have just killed him right there and then, but he just lets him walks away. And as Baku gingerly walks away because he got his ass kicked really badly, Nox says to himself that his persistence will lead him to his downfall. So once again, he tends to do his evil monologue-ish. So we go to a beaten Baku who is just, gingerly and slowly walking to the dam and sees it's already too late. The wolf nightmare has completely eaten Nem. This is all that's left of Nem, a piece of her red hood, which causes Baku to get angry. He uses, before he uses the impact capsum, he says, no, I believe that Nem is still alive. Like, I have this feeling in my heart that she is alive. So he uses the impact capsum. He doesn't transform, but he uses the capsum and just gives, the wolf nightmare a sidekick, which vomits Nem out of its stomach, and Baku rescues her, and Nem apologizes because her role is once again the damsel in distress, and Baku said, you have nothing to apologize for, because whenever you are in trouble in somebody's dream, I'm there to rescue you. You're my damsel in distress always. And like, aww. Aww. And they have a moment, right? And then the wolf is pissed off that its food got vomited thanks to the sidekick. And it decides to go to attack Baku and Nem. Of course, you may ask, how come Baku does not transform? Remember, he got his ass kicked by Nox, so he's still weakened from that last battle. Then all of a sudden you hear shots, and all these shots land at the wolf nightmare, and Nem and Baku turned around and they were surprised that, hey, Nox just shot the nightmare, and he ends up destroying the nightmare. And Baku asks, like, hey, I thought you two were working together, like, what's going on here? And Nox responds with, the nightmares are nothing more than tools. It outlived its purpose. And it has to be destroyed. I just clean up the mess. And he disappears into the shadows. You see the purple butterfly absorbing the particles and flies away and travels back to the crazy lady's garden, into the room where Nem's body has been, stored, you could say. And there's the crazy lady, and Nox quickly appears, and the crazy lady said good work in cleaning up the mess. And we get another shocking reveal as to why the crazy lady took Nem away from the hospital 4 years ago. It's to lure out Zero. So the thing that I don't understand for now, right? Why are you using Nem to lure out Zero for? Like, is Nem and Zero connected somehow? Are they siblings, or is it Zero's daughter? What's going on here? Like, why did the crazy lady thought in her head that capturing Nem can lure out, Zero? Why? We don't know yet. That's the question, that needs to be answered soon, right? And so the scene ends with, Nox telling the crazy lady, hey, once you discovered the location of Code's headquarters, let me know. and he leaves, and Crazy Lady does this thing where she says, I hope, to give you bad dreams and all that stuff. And we get to the last scene of the episode with Baku seeing the happy nurse, just being all happy, all the guilt and regret just washed away. She's all happy. She looks like a new woman. And Baku is just looking across the park, seeing her being all happy, and says, I hope you have good dreams from now on. He disappears. And as he is walking, maybe to his house or whatever, Baku is getting like a sharp pain in his head all of a sudden. And as he was about to faint, guess who saves him? The Crazy Lady. The Crazy Lady is once again disguised as a nurse, but this time she is a counselor, and asks, hey, is everything okay? Have you been getting enough sleep lately? And offers Baku her card and walks away. And of course, she says, hey, if these pains occur again, call this number on my card and we will do like a section, whatever. So she walks away and does the evil smile and whatnot. So I'm guessing her next target is Baku, because who else is connected to Zero? Baku. So it makes sense. In any case, after she leaves, speaking of Zero, Baku gets a phone call, and he assumes that it's Zero reaching out to him, but it isn't the case. He gets a message saying you have a new mission, and you hear a voice, not Zero's voice, but somebody else's. And you see someone dressed in black, and you see a ring that shows the number 3. So it's Agent 3 that's now calling the shots. And this reveal of who Agent 3 is, he looks like an emo version of Alexis Lee, who hasn't slept in years. Yeah, so I'm going to call him emo Alexis Lee from now on, because he looks like Alexis, only in emo form, that didn't get enough sleep because Freddy is chasing after him in his dreams. And that's how the episode ends, guys. So yeah, this episode we have 2 shocking reveals. That one, the reason that the Crazy Lady has captured Nem 4 years ago is to lure out Zero. And the second is it was the Crazy Lady who used Jedi mind tricks to steal Nem from the hospital 4 years ago. So that's the 2 shocking reveals. Yeah, like I mentioned before, like, why do you think that capturing Nem's body could lure out Zero? It's been 4 years plus. Zero could have revealed himself during that time, but he didn't do so. And even with his robot body, he still didn't do anything. And all because the Crazy Lady is after, Code's headquarters. Now, again, we understand why Nox is after Code, because what they did to him, he wants revenge. I understand he wants to destroy Code. But what's the Crazy Lady's reason for going after Code? Is it the same thing? She wants revenge? Or is it something else entirely? So either way, there's more questions that appeared, and at least we have one answer. We got one answer of what really happened to Nem 4 years ago. It was the Crazy Lady using the Jedi mind tricks. And Baku is very strong in keeping his promise to Nem to finding her no matter what. And yeah, and Zero is hasn't shown up yet, and we have emo Alexis with the lack of no sleep. It's going to be the new captain from now on until Zero calls and be like, hey, I'm okay. But maybe he can't because he's afraid that the Crazy Lady will go after him. I don't know. I hope it's not like Kudo's dad situation where he was in hiding the entire time and his reasons was so stupid, and I'm like, well, I hope it's not that situation with what happened with Garchard. So yeah. In any case, give me your thoughts and opinions about, episode 17. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did I miss anything? Even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things here and there. Just write in the comments below. I'll do my best to, comment and stuff. But, work has been very tiring, very busy. So every time I come home, I just lay in bed and I just get knocked out. Yeah, that's how, work is right now. So hopefully things will slow down and everything goes back to normal again, and upload more videos at the scheduled time. But if not, it's fine. At least I'm making videos and submitting them so for you guys to hear my takes, my opinions on the situation and whatnot. But in any case, I'm starting to ramble. So thank you so much for listening. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And I'll see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!